Assalamu alaikum everyone, Huzaifa here from BITFX, and in this video we'll be talking about the weekly outlooks of 1st August till the 5th of August. So let's start off with Euro USD on the weekly time frame. As we can see on the weekly time frame, we are externally bearish, so we have been creating lower lows since 21st June. Okay, so since 21st June or since May 2021, we have been creating lows and lower lows. So externally on Euro USD weekly time frame, we are going bearish. Now a strong leg to monitor on Euro USD, or a strong area to monitor on Euro USD on the weekly time frame, is this order block right here. Now why is this important is, if you see, Euro USD create this lower low, then create this push up, then made a leg down. Now this leg failed to break the low, so this push failed to break the previous lower low. Then market went back up again, and then this order block generated a push which broke this low and the previous lower low. Both of them were broken by this order block, the push generated by this order block. So that's why now this area of supply will be really important for us in the coming days. So we're going to mark this area as the crucial area, which we can expect market to come into and then continue falling. So for market to go into that area, it has to continue up. Alright, so what does this tell us? That on daily time frame we should see some sort of a bullish momentum. And what do you see? We see liquidity build up on the top. Okay, so all this liquidity build up on the top, inducing more and more sellers into taking the sells, and buyers who have their buy stops on the top. So there's ton of liquidity up top right here. Alright, now going on to the 4-hour time frame, we can see market making some sort of a reaccumulation in this zone right here. So it was making lows, lower lows, and technically right here, if you see, is still making externally lower lows. So as soon as market breaks this high, we should see some strong push up, covering up this imbalances and going to this weekly point of interest. Now on 4 hours, what I would like to see is Euro USD making some sort of a push up, or even making equal highs with these tops, coming down. So this would be a nice area for us to look for buys, and then going back up. Okay, so this is the most possible thing which could happen on Euro USD. This is like the highest probability of a setup which could take place on Euro USD. So we would expect buys from this area. So let me just mark this POI right here. So potentially when we do a break of structure, so after the break of structure of this candle right here, so I'm gonna mark this up as well. So after the break of structure of this, we should see a retracement back into this zone and then push up. We could continue maybe a bit lower and then break of structure, but then potentially we should see a push up. As well as we have another scenario in which we could see market coming back into these zones, so continuing a bit more down, coming back into these zones, and then giving us buying opportunities from here. Nonetheless, any setup which we find, we should look for any POI, we should look for the lower time frame confirmations. So even after the break of structure, market comes down, we have to look for lower time frame confirmations. Our major trade would be once the market reaches this point right here. So once the market reaches this POI and we see the lower time frame confirmations in this zone, we could potentially carry it down all the way, creating new lower lows. Alright, so external lows could be created on the Euro USD. Alright, so moving on to the Gbpusd pair, we can see, as previous weeks or like 2 weeks ago, the outlook which I had shared with all of you was, we was expecting some momentum from this area of interest. So we had this area marked, which was a weekly area of demand, and we were expecting some sort of movement from here, and we did get around, let's say, 300 or 400 pips from that zone which we had marked for the weekly outlook. Now what we can see is there are two possibilities. either this area holds, so this area of demand holds, and we continue up, making another higher highs, which is like 1000 plus pips moves, multiple thousands of pips, or we can break this area of demand and then continue down. Now, from which areas could we see a reversal to the downside? First one would be this order block on the weekly time frame, which we can see Gbpusd reacting off a bit as well. Okay, so this area which Gbpusd is reacting off is one of the point of interests. Second one would be for us a stronger one, which I would say is this point of interest, this order block right here. So these two order blocks, or these two areas of interest, areas of supply, would be two major areas for Gbpusd if it wanted to continue going downwards. If Gbpusd ends up breaking the top area, the top order block, top area of supply, anything you want to call it. So if Gbpusd ends up breaking this top area of supply, then we would go externally bullish on Gbpusd. Okay, so then we would shift the trend on Gbpusd, we will become externally bullish, and at that time we would be looking for external buys going over these highs. Alright, so now going on to the daily time frame, what do we see? We see a daily rejection from the area which we had marked on the weekly time frame as well. Let's go on to the 4-hour time frame. We see same thing, market taps into this area, it gives us it makes a higher high, 4-hour rejection candle, and then it does a BOS towards the downside. So now this area gives us a very strong opportunity for sells. So what potentially could happen is Gbpusd would come up here, and then if the market allows us to take the sells, so if we get the lower time frame confirmation, all the BITFX rules are matched into this zone, we would take the sells from here. If not, if the rules are not matched, market can continue up. It's very possible it can continue up into the zones and then potentially give us some sells from the zones. If not, it will break the highs and then we are externally bullish. So people who were with me in the past 2 weeks, and I had told you guys to look for buys into these zones, hopefully you guys took these buys somewhere or there in this zone. If you took these buys, right now it's like 400 plus pips from the buys, so we already were ready for the buys. So if you guys waited for the lower time frame confirmations in these zones, for sure there were buys in these zones. Alright, so all of you took it, congratulations. And now for the future moves, I'm looking for sells from this zone if it allows me for the lower time frame confirmation, and then I'll be looking for sells from this area as well if the lower time frame confirmation allows. If it breaks above this, then I'm externally bullish on Gbpusd, and I'll be looking for buys. I'll be looking for small retracement towards the backside and then continuing up, clearing up all these highs. Alright, so coming on to the Nzdusd pair, we can see on the weekly time frame, as I had mentioned in the previous weekly outlooks, that this order block was a strong area for Nzdusd and we would expect a nice move from this zone. So this was the area marked in the previous weekly outlooks, and if you can see, market came into this zone, a nice rejection wick on the weekly time frame, and we had moved around 300 pips nearly from here. Alright, so those who took these buys as well, congratulations. Now coming on to the daily time frame, what we can see is, now let's go back to weekly and let's mark out potential areas of sells. Okay, so again, same as Gbpusd, there are two possibilities. Either Nzdusd ends up breaking this high right here because it's an external high. So if Nzdusd breaks this high, we would turn externally bullish. If it doesn't break this high, we could continue down, making even lower lows. Alright, so now a strong area would be this order block right here. So this order block right here is a very strong area, because after this order block is followed by a imbalance as well. Okay, so this order block, there's an imbalance, it's a very strong area of supply, so we can expect a very strong reaction from this zone as well. Okay, so either market goes up, breaks this high, comes back down, goes bullish, so breaks the high, comes down, goes bullish. Possibility number 1. Or either market taps into the zone and then continues downwards. So these two possibilities for NZD/USD. Moving on to the lower time frames, let's see daily, the similar thing. We can see on 4 hours, if we see, we had multiple opportunities for buys from these zones. So on 5-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, you would have gotten many opportunities from these zones. Now we can see on 4 hours market did sort of a break of structure, so it's sort of a, you can say, break of structure, but this looks very manipulative. So what can happen is we might see some sort of a reaction from here, but it won't be very strong. So most favorable move would be market breaks this high and then comes back down, goes into these zones which we had marked. So this would be a better move. Just in case, I'm gonna mark this area as well, and maybe if the 5-minute time frame confirmation, the BITFX rules are met in this zone, I might take a sell. Otherwise we'll break this high, come back down. So otherwise we're gonna break this high, come back down into this zone, continue going back up. Because after this break of structure, if you can see, there was this imbalance which market tapped into, and as well as the order block which was precisely tapped. So seeing this is showing us that market is inducing, or market is taking in a lot of buyers. Okay, so it's tapping in the buyers. So if the buyers, there is a strong area for the buyers, that means it's very possible that market is gonna continue up, and then it's gonna manipulate the sellers from this zone. So after the break of structure happens, we will be looking for buys from this zone right here. Okay, if the break of structure happens. If the break of structure doesn't happen, we have the second possibility, which was this right here. So market just taps into this, goes down. Alright, so this was all for the NZD/USD. Alright, so lastly, moving on to Usdcad. As we can see on the weekly time frame, we were bullish, but now we can see a strong indication of the sellers entering the market. As we saw, this minor structure was broken on the weekly time frame, which is a strong indication for the sellers taking over the market, and this huge rejection wick as well. Now for me to move externally bearish on Usdcad, I would need to see this structure break. Alright, so I would need to see this break of structure right here. Right. Even with this minor break of structure, we could see some nice moves towards the downside. So I will be marking this area as well. Now going on to the daily time frame, do we see same thing? Market was making higher highs, we saw a break of structure. Now it depends how far low does the market carry on. So if the market continues to carry down and down and down and taps into this area of demand, so if it taps into this area of demand, then this sells would be less let's say confirmatory. Alright, so these sells right here, if the market continues down, taps into this area, this sells would be less confirmatory. If the market right now just reverses and goes back into this area, then obviously we would look for sells from this zone. Nonetheless, we have this area of interest mark, and then we have this area of interest mark for the buys. So one area for the buys, one area is for the sells. Possibilities would be market going back up, continuing downwards. Second possibility, market continues down, taps into this area, again goes down. Third possibility, goes down and then continues back up, which is being externally bullish for the Usdcad. Okay, so these three possibilities are for Usdcad, these two areas of interest. Now for short term, coming on to 4 hours, we can see on Usdcad we don't have much to see on 4 hour time frame. Potentially if market breaks below this low, we would see a reversal back up, market retracing back up to this zone and then continuing down, proving our these two concepts right, or market could continue up. So this would be one of the areas which I would potentially look for short-term sells, but then these areas which are marked, these are for the long-term sells on the Usdcad. Alright guys, that's all for the weekly outlook for this week. Make sure to like, subscribe and comment down below what you guys would like to see next. And make sure you guys have a profitable week. Keep smashing those pips, keep smashing those Eurusd rewards, and peace.
Rolling like the party on the weekend, keep it going. You in the dark, girl, but you glowing. You just need a little drink, you can start pouring. Sipping that liquor, forgetting who with you, baby. I promise you that I can do better. Fuck all the reasons why you still fuck with him, but think about you, why you can do better. So why don't you say what you want? I promise I'll stay.